Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and get this meeting started. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. Thank you. Okay, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, there's two. Well, one, we do have a concurrent special meeting running with the current council meeting. And so if you'd like to move items, and we can move the awards presentations, the Chriscon Company quarterly report to 2.4. And then I think we have an additional item for the signing of the letter of support on behalf of the council supporting AB 2661. We can move to 5.10.
Okay, Council, any other changes? We have a motion to approve.
I'd like the motion to approve. I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Bosberg. Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Mayor Horn.
And I vote aye. Okay, we'll move on to our next item, awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. We have 4 items tonight. The first 2 are going to be letters of commendation presentations and also the life-saving awards presented by the chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council staff, and committee members. Tonight's council meeting is a very special. I have the honor to present commendation to 9 employees of the Cahuenga Police Department for their outstanding performance in the field, specifically in handling an attempt suicide call and a residential fire call. At this time, I'd like to call to the following employees to the podium: Sergeant Diaz, Officer Cease, Officer Kaiser, Officer Arredondo, and Police Dispatcher May. Sergeant and officers and Dispatcher May, the following is stated on your letter of commendation, which reads: on February 26, 2024 at 7:52 a.m., Police Dispatcher May received a 911 call of an attempted suicide with major injuries near Polk Street in Thompson. Dispatcher May immediately dispatched Sergeant Diaz and Officer Kaiser, Cease, and Arredondo, who responded and arrived within 2 minutes. Officers found that the victim had jumped off the bridge and was laying in the creek bed. Officers immediately began rendering aid and closing the busy streets to ensure EMS would be able to quickly access the area. Officers assisted the California Fire Department and EMS with getting the victim stabilized and moved to the roadway so they could be further treated and transported to the hospital. Sergeant Diaz's supervisions and guidance helped ensure the officers were placed where they needed to be to help get EMS to the victim as quickly as possible. The teamwork everybody displayed helped get the victim stabilized and transported for further emergency medical assistance, and ensure that the fire department did not run into anything that would delay the response. The teamwork, communication, coordination, and calm demeanor kept by all those involved in this incident are to be commended and should serve as an example for all. Thank you, Sergeant Diaz, Officer Cease, Kaiser, Officer Arredondo, and Police Dispatcher May for a job well done. Commander Young, if you could present the certificates. Next, called to the podium would be Sergeant Sparks, Officer Carillas, Officer Arroyo. This is all going to be, for- when it's all done, we're going to have one big picture. Council, Sergeant Sparks, officers, and Police Dispatcher May are being recognized for their immediate action taken at the scene of a fire. The following is stated on their letter of commendation. On February 20th, 2024, at 6:15 a.m., Police Dispatcher May received a 911 call of a residential structure fire at 701 East Valley Street. Dispatcher May immediately dispatched Sergeant Sparks and the officers who responded and arrived within 3 minutes. Upon arriving, officers began blocking surrounding intersections, diverting traffic, and evacuating the neighbor's residence. Officers were told that there was an elderly woman inside of the burning residence, and her son was also inside. Officer Cease and Officer Arredondo were tasked with getting them out of the residence due to the residence being engulfed in smoke and fire. Officer Kaiser and Officer Rapoya began evacuating neighbors that the fire had begun spreading. Officer Caillas and Officer Arroyo, who were getting ready to leave after work, night shift, responded to assist and took control of the intersection to keep unwanted traffic out of the area and to ensure that the fire department was able to gain quick access to the area. Sergeant Sparks coordinated securing the scene, making sure dispatch was kept updated, and that the officers were evacuating nearby residents. The teamwork everybody displayed saved the lives of both the mother and the son and ensured that the fire department did not run into anything that would delay their response in putting out the fire. The teamwork, communication, coordination, and the calm demeanor kept by all these officers involved are to be commended and should serve as an example to all. Thank you, Sergeant Sparks and all the officers in dispatch. A job well done. Go ahead and give the certificates. Council, all these officers did an outstanding job at the scene of this fire. It is my honor to present the Life Savings Awards to two of these fine officers who saved the lives of both the mother and the son. Officer Cease and Officer Arredondo, please take 2 steps forward. Officer Cease and Officer Arredondo, at the scene of the fire, without hesitation, you entered the back of the residence and encountered the son and the elderly mother attempting to exit the house. The mother, who was in a wheelchair and unable to walk on her own. The son had fallen to the floor and was unable to evacuate his mother. Officer Cease and Arredondo helped get the son to his feet so he could get out of the residence safely. Officers then picked up and carried the elderly woman out of the residence to a safe location while the house was overtaken by smoke and flames. Officer Cease and Arredondo displayed tremendous heroism and bravery and saved the lives of both the mother and the son. Your calm demeanor, quick action, and teamwork displayed by you during this incident should serve as an example for all of you.
All right, everyone smile for Mary Jones. She couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted to make sure you guys were included. And she wanted to thank everyone.
Thank you, officers. Okay, we'll get started on the next section. We have item number 3. If I can please have Christy Anderson. Okay, she did have a special request not to speak. So I'll just read exactly what it says. It says, Christy has consistently exemplified dedication, professionalism, and exceptional work ethic in her role as administrative secretary, making her a true asset to our team. Throughout the month of March, Christy has demonstrated remarkable organizational skills, effectively managing administrative tasks essential to the smooth operation of our department. Her attention to detail and ability to handle multiple responsibilities simultaneously have significantly, tongue twisters, contributed to the efficiency, productivity of our office. Christy consistently exhibits outstanding communication skills, both with our team and the public. Her willingness to go above and beyond to help where help is needed reflects her commitment to not only be a part of a team, but a part of a department's success. Beyond her day-to-day responsibilities, Christy consistently demonstrates a positive attitude and willingness to collaborate with staff. In recognition of her outstanding contributions and dedications, Christy is truly deserving of the Employee of the Month title. Okay, we'll move on to item number 4, Criscom Company Quarterly Report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, and staff. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. My name is John Basmajian, the Governmental Affairs Manager at the Criscom Company. I appreciate the opportunity to provide a quarterly report of what we've been doing on the lobbying side and our economic development side. I've provided the little packet that I gave you. That is our Criscom Sacramento snapshot. That's our legislative tracking and monitoring that we do during the legislative session. That's sent out bi-weekly to city staff to look through. I'm happy to send it to you guys as well if you would like to see that. And if you have any bills that you're interested in that you want us to track, it's a longer one. We provide updates. We tell you when it's going to be voted on, everything that's taking place with it, and we try to tailor it so it's specifically related to the city of Coalinga. So as far as our lobbying efforts, I've been frequently traveling up to Sacramento and working closely with Assemblymember Soria and Senator Caballero to make sure that they're well informed of our district budget request. However, it's important to note the bleak outlook that's currently going on in Sacramento with about a $60 billion budget deficit. We currently have word from the governor and leadership that there are not going to be any district budget requests this year, although that can change. So what we're hoping is for when the dust settles, that after the May revise, they will find some money and there will be some extra funds that will be able to go to the city. What we're working on trying to do is stay in touch with them and in contact. So if that does happen, we'll be on the top of the list. So when we move forward, we'll be able to get into that. At the federal level, I had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. a couple weeks ago. I met with Congressman Duarte and his staff to go over the report. We officially submitted their their CPF funding, their congressional project, their community project funding yesterday. So that was submitted. I want to thank city staff for all their help with submitting that and garnering letters of support for that project. We also met with Senator Butler and Senator Padilla's offices as well. Senator Padilla's office encouraged us to apply to their congressionally directed spending also. So we officially submitted that last week. Beyond speaking with our elected officials, we also speak with Budget Committee and leadership to make sure that they're well aware of our project as well. And again, I want to thank the city administration for all that help with submitting those projects. On the economic development front, we have a list of about 150 venues, restaurants, hotels, stores that we're working with. We have several contacts that will be attending ICSC in Las Vegas. That's coming up in May. We will be attending that on behalf of the city of Coalinga at no extra cost to the city. We know that Marissa, some council members and staff were able to attend ICSC in Monterey last week. Now, it's a little bit smaller in Monterey and more intimate, but we want to thank you guys for attending. It's great for the city to get your name out there, and it helps show that our city is a great place to work and to have and do business. So even though we're reaching out to a large number of venues, Marissa has specifically requested that we pay particular attention to the following venues that'll be at ICSC: Burlington Coat Factory, Circle K, Chipotle, Golden Corral, Inspire, Jack in the Box, Panda, Raising Cane's, which is my personal favorite fast food. Love Raising Cane's. I would love to get that into the city. TJX, Wendy's, WSS, and Yum. Many of these on the list are franchises, so we need to get a franchisee that would be involved as well. We do reach out to their corporate offices to make sure that they can let us know if there are any franchisees that are interested in expanding their territories to include over here. But of course, as you guys are well aware of, there's several factors that are involved in economic development, such as the cost of construction, the cost of the land, and also the new $20 minimum wage, which makes it a lot harder, of course. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So you guys do a lot of lobbying and a lot of tracking on these bills, and we appreciate that. And I looked through this, very informative, a lot of information. Question, when you guys lobby, like specifically with the fast food wage increase, a lot of cities like us that have minimal populations, even our sister cities around us, Lemoore just watched Foster freeze. See you later, alligator. They decided it was a great idea to raise these wages, and look what happened. Losing out. The most vulnerable people who had the lowest paying jobs in some of the situations now don't have any jobs. So did you guys help us and lobby against this? Or what was your position on this specific bill when it came around, and what did you guys do? Because I see this a big issue for a lot of cities, but for smaller cities specifically, it's a big job killer because larger populations, sometimes they can absorb these things with the population size. It's all about how much throughput you have. But in the lower population centers, it's a real killer. And it doesn't even, just like you suggested, like, who wants to start up one of these when you're just gonna, have to pay these these huge increases? And then, from what I understand, it doesn't stop there. They're talking about CPI increases in the future. So what was your guys' stance on this bill, and what did you do to lobby?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, council member. So we take direction from council and city administration. So we're a nonpartisan firm, so we'll take direction from you guys. So if there's and that's why we provide those snapshots of those bills that are related to the city that'll either positively or negatively affect the city. We will lobby on behalf of your efforts. But if there is anything that's upcoming that you see, I would love for you to go through that and ask questions. I've summarized all of those bills that are on there. Some of those bills are many dozens or hundreds of pages long. So if you see anything, we're happy to lobby on behalf of the city in particular on those. But as far as this bill that was passed a while ago, so it wasn't.
Yeah, but did you guys do any lobbying on it for any cities? I couldn't see that anyone in their right mind would say, yeah, this is a great idea. It was pretty much a supermajority pass by, and it was absolutely by the Democrats specifically, so I can say that, with almost all the Republicans voting no. And I know people don't like politics, but politics is life, and these are the consequences of those that don't want to get involved. And so I'm just wondering, did you guys take a position on this for any city?
Right, so we did not receive direction from any city to lobby against this. Do you have anything, Sean? I don't believe that, right. So yes, we did not.
So as a city, we need to do better at getting them forth with this and putting information, because this was a major one, and we had a lot of time to see this coming. This wasn't something that hit us in the blind. We had a year in advance at least to know about this. So thank you for your information, and I will absolutely look through this because there's a lot of stuff in here that's quite startling. Is this information on our website so the public could see it?
I don't think it's published on the website.
Could we get that, like, just in the, maybe in the section for the council stuff on this meeting, that we can include that? Because this has a lot of good information in there, and the public could look at it, and maybe that would, members of the public can also come and talk to us and give some direction towards us on what they think about this as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to. And again, if I would be happy to send that out to you bi-weekly, because I do keep it updated with the most current actions that are taking place on all of those bills.
Yeah, no, if you could specifically add me and anybody else, I know that not everyone is interested in this type of stuff. In fact, some people,
Got it.
the reason we're in this situation is no one wants to hear bad news. So, yeah, but I would love to be updated as much as possible. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Nope.
All right,
I don't
thank you
think
so much,
Thank
Mr.
you
Mayor and Council.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we're going to move on to item number 3, citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes in accordance with state open meeting laws. No action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for a follow-up and a report. Citizens' comments submitted in writing to the city clerk by 5 p.m. on the day of the city council meeting shall be distributed to the city council and included in the record. However, they will not be read. Anybody like to speak?
Good evening, Mayor Horn and Council. First and foremost, my name is Kyle Savage. I am the new field representative for Congressman John Duarte for the Madera and Fresno counties. So first and foremost, when I heard about this city council meeting, I was like, this is my greatest opportunity to introduce myself and let you guys know that there is a new representative, and so here I am. So first and foremost, our office is proud to announce that Congressman John Duarte's first bill passed on the House floor. The Confidence in Clean Water Permits Act, H.R. 7013, has successfully passed the House as part of Chairman David Rouser's H.R. 7023. Its passage puts us one step closer to clean water by guaranteeing that the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Systems, NPDES, permits now provide clear and reliable listings of regulations, making them easily accessible and user-friendly for permit holders. Currently, the EPA's NPDES permits writers often include language in permits that provide loopholes for groups to sue and block permits needed for critical energy and often other infrastructure improvements. The Congressman's provisions closes those loopholes and limits opportunities for unwanted or unwarranted lawsuits, codifying previously long-standing practices at the EPA to shield permit holders from liability, as long as they've acted in good faith and according to the terms of the permit. This type of regulatory certainty and legal prosecution or protection for permit holders is necessary for improving our valley's water infrastructure. And first and foremost, again, just wanted to introduce myself again, because that wasn't clear. It's Kyle Savage for the Congressman John Duarte, and thank you for your guys' time.
I got a quick question for you. So our last
Yes, ma'am.
rep that we had for John Duarte's office, he would come here, I believe, once a month.
Yes.
Do you plan on following the same?
Yes.
Coming once a month?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm currently residing in Madera, so I'll be here as much as I can.
Okay.
I know Josh was going to be here for once a month, but I plan to be here as much as I can.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it, guys.
And if you can send all your information to our city manager.
Of
and the
course.
City manager, so they can forward it to us.
Yes, I'm about a week in, so unfortunately I don't have any business cards, but I still have all the information ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
appreciate
Thank you. Any more comments?
Good evening, it's Hilda Crawford, and I'm here on behalf of the Coalinga District Library. I was asked last time, I didn't have much to talk about, but this time someone suggested that I do like a best list for books. And so on our website there at the library, we do have what's called virtual author talks. And if you get on our website, you can get on. Today was Author Talk with Kate Beaton. It's a best-selling cartoonist of Hark and Vagrant. And so she was on at 4 o'clock today. The next speaker will be, or author will be, Thursday the 27th at 5 p.m. And that will be William Kent Kruger, and he is author of The Ordinary Grace. So if you guys have not read these books, the attorney asked me to give a bestseller list, so this is why I'm here, speaking on his behalf. Anyhow, this William Kent Kruger, he also wrote Ordinary Grace, and I mean, I read it myself, and it's such a good book. It's about a young man in a small town in Minnesota, and it's a murder that happens in summer of 1961. And so we have it there at the library. I made sure to check that we did have these available and if they were at our library, and they are. The other one is Raising Anti-Racist Children. It's Author Talk with a Britt Hawthorne, and that will be Wednesday, May 3rd at 10 a.m. All you have to do is get on our website, and the authors are there. If you have any questions, just call the library. We also have the book at the library. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders and Birth of the FBI. I read that one also. It's nonfiction. The first one was Ordinary Grace is fiction, but this is nonfiction. And of course, they made the movie out of it, or they did a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Anyhow, this is a good one, and it's just a twisting, haunting, true-life murder mystery about one of the most monstrous crimes in American history in the 1920s to the Osage Nation in Oklahoma. So those are that I recommend. And another one is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica Sanchez. And this one is when Julia's perfect older sister dies and is killed in a tragic accident. Julia is forced to keep her family from falling apart, but they only seem interested in reminding Julia of the ways she's failed them. So these are just a little bit of the books that, if you're interested, I recommend, because they are good books to read. And I did read the I'm Not the Perfect Mexican Daughter, and that one was also good. So if you're interested, you just get on our website or come into the library. Oh, sorry, Mercedes. And just come check out these books. Okay, did I do a good job?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Mayor, those are Hilda's hits. That's what I'm going to call those. Yeah.
Okay, do we have anybody else?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Councilman. Presley and I would like to let everyone know that this weekend, the Colinga's Gold Star Wellness Center is having their monthly rummage sale. Until we can secure some grant money, we are doing this to help bridge the gap to pay our overhead expenses. One of the things that I encourage the community to do is to purge the things out of their home that no longer serve them, decluttering, and clearing space for mental wellness, emotional wellness, and physical wellness. And they have chosen to donate to our nonprofit. The community comes in, will be Saturday and Sunday. We do for clothing and any small items, it's $5 a grocery bag. So we make it very economical and enticing for people to come in and get the things they need. And we also are looking to connect with talent from the community. We're looking for local artists, local musicians, anyone from the community that would like to hold a workshop or a class for the citizens of of Coalinga, and they can contact me directly. We've been gotten some wonderful craft donations, so we are looking for talented people to come up with workshops using these crafts, these items, and so I just wanted to let everyone know that we're excited. We have a free family fun fitness coming up this month, and yoga every night, and chair yoga Mondays and Wednesdays for everyone, and silver sneakers eligible seniors at 9 a.m. in the morning. And then we also have Zumbini, and we have paint nights as well. So let me know if you need more information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I picked up a good night to come to the City Council meeting, seeing the awards for the fire and the officers, the courageous officers that were rescuing the family there. I know the family only because that family, Tyler Roberts and his mother that was in the wheelchair, are displaced. So they are homeless. They live in the creek behind the house that I reside at, 346 South Garfield, Waltham Creek. There's an encampment of homeless people that are displaced and have no other place to go, and they're living in the creek with things that they acquire from the community. So not being home, Tyler Roberts, being of limited means, no job, his mother's in a wheelchair, they're living in the creek. She's got diabetes, she's missing a leg. I understand his situation. I have sympathy for him and for the other people that are displaced and are out there. That's the untold story that's not told. What happens to these people after they become homeless? Their house burns down. What city services do they have? There are none. So they victimized the community. And he broke into the house. He took my TV, my laptop, miscellaneous stuff, everything in the house. Car keys. I had replaced the pink slips to my car at great expense to myself. Now I got to get security cameras. I'm afraid to leave the house. There is no community service officer within the city that does proactive policing. So my case number 24-000505 is not even 90 days old, and you're up to 505 police responses and cases. They can't proactively go out and address this issue. I'm suggesting that there be a position available for a full-time community service officer that does outreach for these people. The other thing that I wanted to address is I'm a victim of this crime, and I've had to bear tremendous expense replacing all the locks on the doors, replace the key, $300 there, the security cameras that I'm going to have to purchase. I get to the police department and I want a copy of the police report, and they say it's $55. So now I feel like I'm being victimized again by the police department. I don't understand the expense, why it costs $55. Anyways, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I ask if it's okay with you to leave your contact information so that we could have, if we have any questions, that we could reach out?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I did reach out to the chief. I was going to meet up with him regarding the $55 thing. I I haven't set an appointment. It was something I thought I would meet him here, but
If you stay around till the end of the meeting, the chief is in fact here tonight. So
and-
he might be willing to talk with you for a second.
And what's your address, if you don't mind? Just a roundabout area. What area of town do you live in?
South Garfield, so I'm just adjacent to the creek. And the problem is getting, there's the thing of it is, they start fires. And it's only a matter of time before two houses have already burned down. It's only a matter of time before we have another fire condition within the city.
Can you come back, can you come up to the microphone?
Unattended.
When you're sitting in the seats, it doesn't pick up on the online. Yeah, you're okay. You can come back up for just a second.
Okay, so you'll smell smoke, and you don't know if your house is on fire or where the smoke is coming from. You go to the creek, and there's a bonfire. And sometimes these people leave them unattended. And two people that live out there already, Tyler Roberts, that's on Valley Street, that his house burnt down, that the officers got the awards for. That's one gentleman, and there's another one there, his house burnt down. So I don't know how responsible they are with fire. And it's a scary situation. Coalinga Police Department has no jurisdiction in the creek. They can't go out there. They can't do anything. They refer it to the sheriff's department. I called the sheriff's department, and they say, we're sorry, there's nothing we can do either. They're 50 miles away, and they don't patrol. So it's just a matter of time before someone's house, burns down. And if they see an opportunity to steal from people or find an abandoned house, they're going to take it. It's a scary situation. It really is. And I just feel like everyone's passing the buck. Coalinga says it's sheriff. Sheriff says it's Coalinga. And I don't know what's going to happen to these people.
We'll work on getting the information for you
Okay.
pretty quick, and then one of us will get back to you. If not,
I
the other-
appreciate
one
it,
of the
Mayor.
Councilman as well too.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
My number's right here. I think I'm the district representative for your area. If you wouldn't mind reaching out to me. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Any more comments? Okay, seeing that there's none, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 4, public hearings. We have one item tonight to introduce and waive ordinance number 865, amending planning and zoning code related to permitting limited accessory structures within the rear yard setback of a residential zoned properties.
Thank you, Mayor. The city council directed staff to prepare a recommendation regarding a proposed zoning text amendment to permit accessory structures no greater than 120 square feet in the required rear yard setback of residential lots within the city. At that time, it was the request that the amendment aims to address specific constraints faced by property owners, enhance flexibility in land use, while ensuring compatibility while existing zoning regulations and the broader community's interest. On Tuesday, March 19th of this year, the Planning Commission adopted resolution number 024P-001, recommending approval by the City Council of ordinance number 865 as amended. The setback, the council directed staff at that time to amend the zoning code to allow detached accessory buildings to be located within 1 foot of any rear property line when the rear property line is adjacent to an alley right-of-way, street right-of-way, park, or other open space. In addition, if an accessory building is no larger than 120 square feet, it may be permitted within the required side yard setback so long as it's located in the rear 1/3 of the lot. Detached accessory buildings shall meet all other setback requirements of the main building. The Planning Commission held the public hearing on March 19th and discussed the draft ordinance and recommended approval by the City Council with additional language related to ensuring that the roof structures do not overhang property lines so that draining remains on the subject property. So not, if you put something that has somewhat of a, you want to make sure that we basically do it by the walls based on the setback. So if we're getting closer to the property line, we want to ensure that we're not having any overhang onto property lines. So edits have been made into the ordinance, and I kind of addressed that in red, so you can see that compared to what was originally presented to them on that draft ordinance. So with that, that's kind of the details of the ordinance. We've found that this action falls under an exemption under the California Environmental Quality Act for any kind of environmental impacts. Basically, it falls under a Section 15303E related to new construction or conversion of small structures. Public notices were sent out. They were sent out as joint public hearing notices so that we were able to schedule the meetings closer together between Planning Commission and City Council concurrently. And so those were noticed, posted. And so with that, if you have any questions on the ordinance, other than that, this is a public hearing, Mayor.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there anyone who'd like to ask some questions or talk about this item? Council? Okay, seeing that there's none, we'll go ahead and close the hearing. Yeah. Okay, what would council like to do?
I'll make a motion that we approve the introduce and waive ordinance number 865.
I'll second that. Can we get roll call, please?
Councilmember Vosberg,
Aye.
Mayor Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 5. We have 10 items tonight for our consent calendar. Are there any items that you guys would like to discuss or pull, or we have a motion?
So I'd like to just pull 4, 5, 9, and 10, and they'll be real short. Just have a couple of things on each one of those.
Any others, council? None? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the first one, item number 5.4, Councilman Vosberg.
Yeah, first off, I would just like to thank everyone involved in the TTHM project. It's a nice project for the city. I think it was a mixture of ARPA funds and bonds, correct?
Yeah.
And I guess my only question is that a lot of times with construction, you have set aside extra money for overages. Are there any money set aside for overages on this project that could be coming back? And if so, where are they going to head? Because some of it, a lot of it was used from ARPA funds, and then some of it was used from bonds.
Yeah, so the total will not be necessarily covered fully by ARPA funds, but the majority of it will be. The ARPA funds were really set to actually pay for the construction. You can see the contract amount, final contract amount was 1.345 million, with 1.2 million being allocated for ARPA funds. So from the construction standpoint, about 100,000 or so will be derived from the bond money. And so basically any additional excess funds that were not utilized from the bonds will be applied to other projects.
Okay, and do you have an idea of how much that'll be, or is there a waiting window?
In reality, prior to the ARPA funds being allocated to this project, it'd be $1.2 million. That's basically going to be available in the bond money for other projects that we're working on right now.
Okay, and have you already allocated that money for those projects?
Yeah. As we discussed, I think in the workshop prior,
So that was the money you're talking about coming back in?
So the breakdown that was in that breakdown of the projects and the updates in the projects, those have
Alright.
been absorbed by other projects.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, now item number 5.5, Councilman Vosberg.
All right. So this says in here that it was approved in 2022 to repair the truck. what was the amount approved back in 2022 to repair the vehicle?
I haven't looked that up. I think it's pretty similar to what's being asked now.
And how much money did the city mechanic, how much did it cost us back then to fix it with the city mechanic?
I'd have to look that up to see exactly what it was. There were minor adjustments made getting it going, but this is a comprehensive repair on the patch truck. So there were repairs that weren't completed by the mechanic at the time. So we probably didn't use a fraction of this because there were a lot of things that he was unable to do, but it was able to at least get it going at that time. It just, with the need of having that patch truck available, we were unable to send that out for the repairs. And so with this, in the last couple years of storms, we've really seen, as people have seen, there's a lot of potholes that we need to be able to have this working. Yep. And so we've looked at it, and we basically are looking to get this fully repaired. I think prior, it was basically just to get it up and operational as much as possible.
So is this going to have some kind of warranty when it comes back with it for the 25K? I mean, how long are we thinking this thing's going to last? I mean, how old is this?
This is
2006, is it?
It's in relatively good shape. As you can see, it's about $250,000 to $300,000 to replace one of these patch trucks. This will actually put it in great working condition by doing this maintenance on the vehicle.
Okay.
And it's more of the equipment rather than the vehicle itself.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, item number 5.8, 5.9. Councilman Vosberg.
All right. So the reason I pulled this item, first off, I want to thank our police department of all the work that they do, all the hard work that they're doing to address repeat offenders. And then secondly, I just want to inform the public, this really, I'm kind of segueing in. Your report is great and it gives a lot of good information. So this is kind of an addition to that. One, saying how great of a job you guys have done. I think it's a 10% reduction in overall crime. That's great. What I want to talk about on this, though, is at some point in time, I want to understand what our return rate is when, how many people are actually convicted. I remember when Salvador was here, this was a big deal with me, because once we heard of the numbers of how many people were actually convicted and how many people actually did their time, it was an amazingly low number. And so I want to be able to understand that, so I'd like to see that on a future report if possible, because the person that was arrested just recently on 328, he started off with a bunch of different things: trespassing, obstruction, resisting an officer, and assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm. So he goes to court on the 4/2/24, and the judge lets him out on his own recognizance. This is Judge Mark Cullors, decided that this person that has been a routine offender and that has caused, if I was the person that was involved in these crimes, I would be very unhappy about this. And so I want to know, one, I want to understand what our rate is of actual conviction. And then two, I want to know, and I know this is not the police, this is not our local guy's fault, but what kind of pressure can we put on these people? This is ridiculous. This guy went up, all he did was motion to be released on his own recognizance, and the judge said yes, no big deal. I read the report. Anyone can read it on the Smart Search. You go to Smart Search, type Smart Search Fresno County. You can go to the court cases and you can see exactly what's going on. And he has currently, they let him loose with 2 misdemeanors and a felony. And they let him walk. And one of them is the attempted with a deadly weapon other than a firearm. So the public should be aware of this. And this segues into what I said last time. Of hey, people need to be prepared. And, this is just absolutely horrible to read about this. And so I'm sorry if I used your report to segue into this, because you guys are doing such a great job. And I just want to acknowledge that. But I don't know what we're going to do, but I just want to figure something out. And so maybe at a future meeting or a future agenda item, we bring something back to figure out what we can do to put pressure on the judges and the DAs to and what we need to do, is there something we need to do better, you know, to try and get these cases? Because I looked, and there's other things on there for people from Fresno that have been in, you know, there was one guy, child porn case, and he's been in there since January. I'm thinking, how does a guy with child porn, been in there since January, and this guy's trying to hurt our officers, and he's out in 6 days? I mean, they're both horrible offenses, but it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's all I have on that one. I appreciate it.
Okay, next item, 5.10. Councilman Vosberg.
So this item, I was wondering if, do we have anyone zoomed in on right now?
Yeah.
Do we have, I was gonna let Representative, there she is, Representative from Westlands kind of give a little bit of background on this item.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Elizabeth Jonathan, and I'm the Deputy General Manager for External Affairs for Westlands Water District. I also have Daniel Kim on the line. He's a partner with Golden State Clean Energy, and we're working together on this bill. And I'll be brief. As you all are aware, the west side of Fresno County has its share of water challenges. It has for many years now. And with the implementation of SGMA, our water supply is ever more dwindling, which leads to tough conversations regarding what to do with fallowed agricultural land. We found partnering with entities like Golden State Clean Energy that solar is a viable option to not only do something with the agricultural land that will be fallowed, but also create jobs and at least have some economic revenue out of that land, with the alternative being essentially remaining fallow and creating dust and air pollution and the rest of it. So we've slowly seen solar developments increase in the district and are embarking in a master planning process. But complementary to that process, that environmental process, is this piece of legislation, which would do essentially two things. One is speed up transmission. The Central Valley has been identified as a prime place for solar development in the state, in part because of our land and water challenges, but also because some of the reasons why it's such great agricultural land makes it ideal for solar as well. And transmission is really a linchpin in the ability to develop more of the solar. And two, it confers upon water districts some of the abilities that irrigation districts, for example, have of being able to invest and own some of that power so that we could potentially use some of that power to offset our costs and thus lower costs for water users. I wanted to provide an opportunity for Mr. Kim to also say a few words regarding the legislation and the Golden State Clean Energy's view on this.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Daniel Kim with Golden State Clean Energy, and we support the efforts that Westlands and us are collaborating with to try and do exactly what Elizabeth said. Get some of these lands to be repurposed for providing additional revenue for the district and for the growers, which would otherwise not be done without this opportunity. But it's going to require transmission, and this legislation will accelerate that ability, and we wholeheartedly support it. And thank you for the Coalinga City Council for taking this up.
Thank you. Thank you for the information as well.
And we stand ready to answer any questions that you may have, and appreciate the time on this agenda.
I have a quick question. So all part of this right here, we have an issue over in the Tulare Lake bottom. Are you guys going to be able to utilize that overflow of extra water that's sitting there? Because they say it's going to take at least 3 years for it to even dissipate with that, and that's without no rain coming.
I am not aware of us taking any water from the Tulare Lake Basin. I do know that when additional water had become available last year, early this year, Westlands was able to utilize a substantial amount of water to do recharge. We recharged 380,000 acre feet in that year, water year. So we did take some what you would consider flood flows or excess flows that would have otherwise ended up potentially flooding communities. But I can't specifically state one way or the other whether any of that was specifically destined for the Tulare Basin.
All right. Thank you.
No.
Any more questions?
No, I just wanted to thank Ms. Janassen for bringing this forward. This is important, I believe, for the all of the communities that rely on Westlands and our partners and whatnot, and anything you guys can do to, help, either keep what's working or make things cheaper. However you guys can do it, we're grateful for that, and so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what would council like to do? I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the changes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Councilman Bossberg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 6.1, discussion and direction of potential action regarding fiscal year 2024, 2025 operational expenditure budget. My Vang.
Hi. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. City Manager, I see that she's online. Usually she does the introduction for it. And thank you, the citizens who are here. Before I kind of go in and give a brief overview, I wanted to thank my staff for helping me in putting this together. It was a little different this year, and we hope that it looks better than last year. And so, let's see. Every year we bring to council and also to the citizen the budget, but we break it up in 3 sections. The first part is going to be the expenditure, which is what we bring to you today. And then in April, on the 18th, we'll bring in the personnel, and that will then conclude the expenditure piece of the budget. Then in May, we will bring in the revenue, which will then, you will have the entire picture of the proposed budget for fiscal year 24-25. And so, and then after that, the overall budget will be discussed again on May 16 for any other direction that you may have for us. And then we will look at adopting the budget in June. So at this time, we are not seeking any actions. However, we are asking that you provide us directions on the proposed operation and maintenance and capital expenditure budget. So with that, the details are in the packet that you received in the agenda. And just so that I can put it on record, hold on. Okay. This year, we started off with the proposed citywide budget for fiscal year 24-25 at $35,463,564. And this is for all funds, it's just not specific to the general fund. And which is about 2.1 million, almost 2.2 million more than what was approved for the current fiscal year, which is a 6.6% increase. And that has a lot to do with, if you go to the last page, not quite the last page, but the last section, we've included a huge project, which is the splash pad project, which is a huge chunk of the request here for about $2 million there, where half of it is going to be ARPA funds. So, and I bring that up because it's, last year we were very conservative with our expenditure, where it was below $1 million in regards to the general fund. What you'll see is this $2 million is in the general fund, and it is because the project has grown, and so has the cost to put it together. And we do have that about $900,000 is going to be ARPA fund. And that's all I have. Questions,
Council have any
directions?
questions?
So I've spent a lot of time on my own researching this, speaking with the city manager, so that I didn't take everyone's time on this, which I'm sure the public and everyone is going to be happy about. I did have just a couple questions, though, and then a couple of things that I wanted to add as well. So I wanted to, let's see, the portion for elected officials. So I added up, last time we were speaking about this during Code of Conduct, we're given direction to split the funds into 5 separate districts. That way that we could have them separated, and we're told the time to do that would be budget time. That way that we could give them each a line item. And so then I'd also asked what I thought were the increases, but then I was asked if I could go back and look to see how much each item would cost in order to attend. And so I looked at 2 League of Cities meetings and 2 ICSC meetings, and then any kind of commitment for committees that we were on. And this doesn't even include the extra stuff the mayor does. But at just that, I'm coming up with around $5,000 per year per person that would attend those events. And so I'm asking that we raise that. One, I'm asking that we separate out the accounts line item by district. 2, that we give each district $5,000 to start off. And then at the end of the year, if people are deficit or they think they're going to be deficit, then they would get approval from council from that district to be able to move funds into there, specifically for situations where there's unexpected things that come up that people need to go on. A lot of times the mayor ends up having to do things that have a lot more obligations than just the general, and then also people that sit on committees have to go to places. And the whole thing is, in this, we had just heard this at the last League of City meeting, that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So it's very important that we continue to go to these. And just to attend the ICSC stuff, you have to be a member. And so I just got off the phone with Marissa tonight and was asking her the prices on all this, and that's how I got led to the 5,000 number. And it used to be that number, but then we wanted to be conservative and we kind of dwindled it down because a lot of people weren't utilizing it. So I think in this plan, it allows people that are going to utilize it, and then people that are not could turn around and have their money utilized with the mayor or other people that would need it. But then the last part is that money does not roll over into that council budget. That money rolls back into the general fund. So at the end of that budget cycle, that money goes back into the general fund, because I know that some council members do other things locally, and that's where they spend a lot of their time rather than going to state function events and things like that. And that's equally as important. But because of that, then their money would come back into the general fund, which I think this year we're even going to have money coming back into the general fund. I didn't attend a couple of events that I wanted to, because I looked at my budget and I said, oh, this is going to run super thin, and we don't have a thing in place to ask somebody else to be used for their budget. And so I figured, okay, well, I'll just wait, and then the next budget cycle we can put these measures in place to make sure that we have everything, and then it would also be in line with the code of conduct that we had passed as well. And so my ask is that we give the $5,000 to each council district, and then that we separate them up, and then at the end of the year, that money will go back into the general fund, any unused money. So that's the first item that I have on this. And then the second item that I have is just a question, because I don't know. So looking at all of this, I just want to say that the city has done a great job in putting wants, putting needs, putting things like that in there. And I know that you guys have a lot more to work on the budget. And when you get into personnel costs and when you get into that stuff, then these numbers can change. As a whole, these are kind of like placeholders for different kinds of things. But one item that stood out to me was the canine money. And it was asked for, I think, an additional $20,000 for canine money. And so I guess my question around this is that I remember I was on council when we initially passed this canine project, and it was stated multiple times, because I thought to myself, this can get really expensive. You're going to have to pay the officers, the overtime, you're going to have to pay, stipends, you're going to have to pay for training, you're going to have to pay for vet bills, and I thought to myself, this is going to be really expensive. But we were told at that point in time that, no, we're going to have a nonprofit handle this, and that none of those fees would hit the city. And for a couple of years, that was the case, and now I'm seeing that it shows the increase for the $20,000. So I'm not against it. I'm just asking, do we still have a nonprofit? And if so, what have they done? And if not, have there also been increasing expenses around this that are causing the price to go up?
Chief Garza, I'm going to have to defer that to you.
As to the nonprofit, of course, the salaries, the overtime is paid by the general fund, by the department's budget. The other expenses, food, and I believe care of the animal is paid by the foundation.
So is the foundation still, I guess my question is, why is there a need for another $20,000?
I'm not sure on that one. We requested additional 20. Do you remember?
Okay, so in regards to the request for the 20,000, I put the 20,000 in there because I see that there's been a high expenditure in that fund. In that account line. Every year we seem to be using funds for the canine, vaccine, food, and we never budget for it. So that's one of the things that I am doing as well in regards to transparency, is that if I see that there is an expenditure there year in and year out, and then we never budget for it, I'm making sure I put a budget in there so that it could reflect what the true operations of the city is doing. So
I guess my question is then, is the nonprofit still contributing, and are they still contributing at the level that they were? Or is this something that the city is going to be picking up?
The foundation's still paying for the food, and so yes, they're still active.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I had. I appreciate all the time everyone's done on this. This is a large undertaking every year that you guys do, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like at the end. And just for the public, you know, to know, this is available online. If you want to sift through it and look at this stuff, you can. And there are some sways in certain things, but with inflation and things like that, things do go up, you know. And so if you have questions, you know, reach out to the city or reach out to one of us, and or attend a budget meeting and ask a question, because that's what it's for. So, and I appreciate your transparency, Mai. Thank you.
I got a quick question. So the reserve that we normally set aside, is it roughly about the same? Or is it going to lower, or is it going to raise?
Are you talking about the general fund reserve?
Yes.
So we are not budgeting, or we don't have any expectation of moving any of our general fund funds to the reserve, so it will remain the same.
Okay. Thank you.
So I think segueing into what he was talking about, it has a negative sign. It talks, when it shows increase or decrease, it has a decrease of 373,041. So what's that from?
So this fiscal year, well, last fiscal year 22-23, we came into, as we were preparing for the current fiscal year's budget, we've asked that we will take $373,000 out from the reserve to purchase a fire vehicle. I think it was an apparatus or one of their truck. I can't remember what the name of it. I think it's like a T9 or something like that.
And that also comes out of one of your funds as well that you guys get, correct?
I can't answer that. It's the Type 3 fire engine.
Type 3, thank you.
It'll be the new Type 3 that we're going to send out on statewide response. It's normally also tied to bringing in
Is that the same one that we ordered? This isn't for the ambulance, this is for the apparatus, correct? The
This
truck?
is the one we ordered about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, so this isn't something new. This is something we've already done, and it's just a accounting placeholder for it.
Yes, we've already paid for it.
Okay, thank you. Good
It just
question,
took a
Mayor.
while for it to get here.
You have any more questions, council? None right now, okay. I think that kind of gives you a little bit of direction. When will we be getting a hard copy? 2 more meetings?
You will get your final, are you asking about the final copy? The final copy will be prepared and distributed by the end of June.
Okay,
Yes, after budget is approved.
okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Announcements, city manager's announcements.
I have none unless the one on Zoom has any.
I have none, thank you.
Council, you have any announcements? Okay, I have a couple. Yesterday, we did our groundbreaking for unwired next-gen fiber, and we had actually a pretty good turnout. We had between 30 and 40 people that had actually showed up for it. Lasted about an hour. The weather was perfect. It wasn't raining. It wasn't windy or nothing. It was nice and warm. Went great. We had a couple of our council members that were able to show up, as well as myself, and a few of our city staff as well. The next one, we did ribbon cutting on Saturday, March 30th, and that actually turned out really well. I was there for about 5 hours, and I probably seen 4,000 or 5,000 people walking in and out of those doors, not including going out and buying from all the vendors that were out there. It was a lot of food, a heck of a lot of food. So it turned out really well. And then the next one is May 4th. These flyers have gone out in your utility bills for the city. May 4th, Mid-Valley Disposal will be doing a free dump day again from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. All the information you need is in your letters. Okay, are there any future agenda items tonight?
I'd like to do a future agenda item on what we're currently doing or could do about the problem, the homeless problem in the creek. displaced people, possible solutions, outreach officer, just look at all of that.
I have one. So, we have a lot of people that don't understand the rules with the animals. And I know we've had multiple workshops on this, but it just seems like the public doesn't fully understand what's going on. And we have a certain group of people that thinks it's okay to release their animals routinely over and over again. And there doesn't seem to be, you know, if there's no consequences, I mean, if there was consequences, you would think they wouldn't be doing it over and over again. So I think I've had a lot of discussions with people about this, and one of the discussions I've had is with the city treasurer, Dawn Kaikina, and she had a really good idea about doing a massive information campaign, having the city work with other agencies, working with the schools, working with places like that to try and get out information about animals, and then also discussing what we can do to ensure compliance on a lot of these items. So informational campaign is something that I believe it's needed, and I appreciate the idea from Treasurer Kaikina. So if we could bring that back for discussion.
Yeah. Any more items?
I had one, just with the gentleman that was here, speaking about the creek. I'm glad Mr. Duarte's representative is right here. Maybe we could set a road to where, because in our town, we have a lot of county roads, and our law enforcement have to, you know, based on Fresno County Sheriff, and we wanted to see if maybe you guys could come down, get more representative, to walk around our county roads, county areas, and see what we can do to kind of help the situation, what's going on. A lot of times the city's kind of, you know, has their hands tied behind their back because of county roads. Also, too, you know, I've been trying to get this creek cleaning up. Maybe we could have Mr. Duarte talk to Fresno County directors, supervisors, and see what we can do to get our creeks and everything going, and see if we could come up with something. And thank you for coming out.
Before you leave, I got some information to go along with that, so you can take it back with you. Okay, kind of run into something yesterday, so I'd like to have a possible agenda item to get a hold of county, Caltrans, so we can find out what other transmission lines are close to our lines, so that way we know whenever there's a leak, who to call when it's not our transmission lines. Is there a way we can do that?
Yeah, no one else really has any transmission lines, but we can definitely look.
Okay.
And we can talk to maintenance,
Okay.
Caltrans, yeah.
All right. Okay, we've got 2 items for closed session tonight. That being said, we're meeting is adjourned.